Hello and welcome back. This is episode 15 of my Realignment 2028 series as the expansion team Oakland A's. And we are about to start the 2031 season. It's opening day. Um, won't go too in depth into our lineups here, but in case you missed the end of the last episode, here is what we're going with to start the season. Not a lot of huge changes compared to our lineup to end the last season. Our team last season won over 90 games, finished second in the AL, so it made sense to mainly run the same team back. Not a lot of big changes. So our rotation: Jones, Imanaga, Bautista, Snelling. The order changed a little bit in there. Snelling had a bad spring training and got bumped down a bit, and then Swim is new as our fifth starter. Um, he had some improvement through the Dev Lab, had a good spring training, and deserves that spot. I'm hopeful that he'll continue to do well. Jax is our closer still, despite his less than stellar performance in the Seattle series in the playoffs. Overall, his body of work is enough where he should stay our closer for now. Fernandez and Snyder as setup men. Burke new to the pound, and he will be a middle reliever with Rob, Correa, and Leiter, and then long relief Phillips, Ferris, and Bello. And then as for our other positions, Baldwin, Coffee, Volpe, Perdomo, Santana as the catcher and infield. Outfield, Zapata, Crow, Armstrong, Shelley. New to the DH spot is Nick Kurtz, who we traded for from the Guardians. And then our bench consists of Dylan Moss as backup catcher. He was a Rule 5 pick. Cooper Kinney with his kind of last shot, last gasp at the majors, backup first baseman. Sean Gamble, who can play a multitude of positions, but will likely be, backup infielder / outfielder. Spencer Browning, another Rule 5 pick, as backup infielder. Keyshaw can play backup outfield and backup at first base, and Martinez as backup outfield. And also both Keyshaw and Martinez will get starts against lefties as well. So that's our roster to start the season. Let's go ahead and get into it. Again, I'll stop the sim for any major injuries, any notable updates. Probably the only notable updates would be I'm going to definitely keep an eye on two of our top prospects, John Clevenger and TJ Strapidopoulos, in the minors. Both of them are kind of knocking on the door of being able to be in the big leagues. Scott Sharpton as well. I think if there's injuries, he would be probably the first one called up. He's had a good spring training, had a good start to AAA, over 3 games, but still. We'll roll into the year, and I didn't even notice, but we start the year playing Seattle in the first series. I have a feeling the schedule makers did that on purpose to they always try to put marquee games on opening day, right? So that it was definitely a classic series. Went the full 7 games, although the Mariners are projected to not be quite as good this year for whatever reason. We were predicted to be quite good this year, although I don't know if we are almost a 100-win team. Like, we didn't really add that much from last year either, so I don't know. Anyway, we'll see how we do, and I will provide updates as we go. Oh, one more quick note. The active roster is 30 players, and that will be the case until May 1st, so I'll definitely stop and provide an update on May 1st because we'll have to cut the roster down to 26. But yeah, if there's any injuries or updates before then, I will let you know. Our first injury update here at April 17th. Dylan Moss, our backup catcher, fractured his thumb, is out for 3 weeks. He's not the most impactful of injuries, and the call up for that is fairly easy. We already have another catcher on our 30-man roster or 40-man roster in Caden Bodine. Though he has been a little underwhelming at AAA. Yeah, I'm still not going to spend another 40-man spot on a backup catcher for now, though. Bodine will come up. He did fairly well in that role last year, so he will play every fifth game. And every fifth game. We are 3-7 to start the year. We did have an absolutely brutal stretch to start the year, though, with series back-to-back against Seattle and Detroit, who were the two playoff teams that we faced last year. And, yeah, did not do very well. Highlighted also this series against the Royals. We lost this game 18-4. Yeah, Robbie Snelling has not been good to start the year across two starts, but still allowed 8 earned runs over just 1 in the third inning pitched in that one against the Royals. Ferris has also been quite bad. Yeah, 8 earned runs over just 2 and a third innings pitched in relief. Yeah, not great. Not a great start to the season. Still very early. But that's enough for me to, along with Karsten Swim's excellent start in his debut, 8 and a third scoreless with just 90 pitches thrown, 4 hits, 0 earned runs, 5 strikeouts. Like, yeah, that's enough for me to at least bump him up to the 4 spot and Snelling down to the 5. Like, Snelling's definitely on watch in terms of, like, being bumped out of the rotation, which is sad because we just extended him to a long-term deal, right? But, given what he had done so far, like, through last year, I think that was justified. But yeesh, that's a rough start to the year. We'll have to see. Hopefully, he can kind of pick things up. Again, it's really small sample size. As I'll bump Gavin Jones' pitch count up now. He's done well to start the season. Imanaga struggled a little bit too across 2 starts, 5 earned runs in each of those starts. Not great. But yeah, 3 out of the 5 have been good, and then our offense, I haven't dived too deeply into that yet, but Martinez was hurt with a mild injury to start the year as well, so he's had limited playing time. It was just a minimal injury, so I didn't throw him on the IL. Let's see, Santana Shelley leading the team in WAR. OPS over 100, along with his excellent defense, I imagine. Yeah. Although he's got negative ZR at right field so far this year. That's interesting. We faced a lot of lefties, too. That's really interesting. Okay. Anyway, let's keep simming, and yeah, we'll see where things go. Okay, so it is May 1st now. Roster expansion is over. Not a lot of drastic changes. We are up to 11-10, which, given how the year started, the beginning of April, I'll take, I guess. Yeah, just not an amazing start to the season, but we also had, series against the Mariners, series against the Tigers. I think there were, series against the Yankees in the end of April, right? So a lot of tough teams to play, kind of a rough stretch. Lost some games to the Vegas Raiders. Well, only lost one. We got 2 of 3 against them, so that's good. But yeah, above 500 balls still for the start of the season. I'll take that. The rotation has been mostly good so far. Let's see, as we look at our... Yeah, I mean, overall, starters and bullpen ERA are not the highest they could be. We're somehow 5th in batting WAR, and doing mediocre or okay on most offensive categories. Defensive efficiency, we're 9th, but zone rating, we're 1st. Tied for 8th in errors. Okay, so I'm guessing the errors are kind of bringing some stuff down there, but again, small-ish sample size, I think. So our rotation now is Jones, Bautista, Swim, is up to the 3rd spot. He's had 4 strong starts so far. ERA sub 2. Can't be much happier with that. On the flip side, we've got Imanaga and Snelling both struggling to start the year, so they've been bumped down to our fourth and fifth starters. Both of them are kind of in danger of losing their spot, especially since Jose Bello's off to a pretty good start for the year. He could slot into the rotation. And waiting in the wings, we've got TJ Strapadopoulos, who's off to a great start for the year. I think he could get called up at any time. Also of note, like I know there's the whole service time thing, but I had forgotten about, and it's worth noting the prospect promotion incentive. If he gets called up, and I don't know how it works for later years, but I know if you get called up as a rookie and you finish in the top three in Cy Young voting, with like a full year of service time, then you get a compensation pick for that. That's, I believe, what happened with Paul Skeens for the Pirates. I think there's a few other players. I think if you finish in the top for MVP voting as well, it's also the case, kind of to incentivize teams to not play the service time games with their top prospects, where it's everyone's kind of aware of what they're doing. I mean, the Cubs famously did it with Chris Bryant, right? Left him down, so he didn't get that extra year of eligibility. Yeah, so so for TJ Strapadopoulos, right now he's still in the minors. I think if as soon as there's an injury or if it makes sense, he'll get called up. I think he's doing well enough where he probably deserves a shot at the big league level. So kind of on the borderline there of like his ratings are still a little bit raw, but also let's request a new scouting report because yeah, we had one in March, I guess, but still, let's see if anything has changed in the last month or so of the season. Desan Hill also off to a good start. He could see time either as a starter or a reliever at the big league level, especially if guys continue to struggle. The only issue is we've got a lot of guys on the big league roster that are out of options, and I'm kind of like biding my time, kind of trying to see what I want to do with them. Snelling, I'd love to get some work in the minors, but he's completely out of minor league options. Ditto for Jackson Ferris, and I don't want to outright waive these guys. I'm still not really looking to trade them. I don't think I'd really get value back, so both of those guys I'm just hoping will bounce back. Ryan Fernandez off to a bit of a slow start. In fact, the whole back of our half of our bullpen is kind of off to a slow start. Yeah, even Colin Snyder has not a great FIP. I might have to shake things up here sooner rather than later. But those are all guys that were reliable for us last year, so again, I'll give him a little bit more leeway. But like Griffin Jacks, yeah, I mean, he's had 5 saves, but also 2 blown saves to start the season. His ERA is not great. His FIP wasn't good. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do about the bullpen exactly. A lot of question marks. We also do still have Chris Bourgeois, who's been doing well in the minors. He's up to a 2.5 star potential after, his potential control improved a little bit more. Again, he's a guy that we'll probably see sooner rather than later at the big league level. So lots of interesting talent in AAA. And then as far as our big league lineups go, Santana and Martinez both off to an absolute tear to start the season. Martinez finished the last year strong and has really continued that into this season. He hits lefties well for sure with his ratings, but he's also hit righties well to start the season. So we have made some adjustments to our lineups where Martinez is playing every day now against right and left-handed pitching. Perdomo, if you look at the splits, he has struggled to start the year against righties. So what I've done, and Cooper Kinney, has only had pinch hit appearances, but OPS plus over 100, so, he's going to get a shot. Cutter Coffee will move to starting third baseman. Cooper Kinney will be starting first baseman. Nick Kurtz kind of on watch too as our everyday DH. Negative WAR so far, OPS under 100. That's not what we want from the DH that we traded for to specifically be our, power hitter. But again, smallish sample size, only 50 plate appearances. So um, I'd say that's just a straight up small sample size. But we're going to roll with this for now. Against lefties, again, Keyshaw and Shelley get starting time. Shelley does lose his starting job because of the the rearrangement of the lineup. Shelley and Perdomo both get bumped to the bench and then bumped down to Triple A because of the roster expansion ending. Both Sean Gamble and Gian Zapata have struggled to start the season. Zapata's biggest asset is his bat, and he's got an OPS under 100. Gamble can play a bunch of positions, but his OPS was pretty weak in general. So both of them will start in the minors. I think the Zapata trade just kind of looks like a bust on both sides now. I hate to say, because Sinja finished the year strong for Houston, but has started off pretty shaky, I'd say. And then both Montero and Burkholder are at AAA for Houston to start the season. So, they got some good production out of all three of those guys last year. So, you could argue that so far they've won the trade, but really, I don't know if there are many winners overall in this trade so far. But again, Zapata's still only 25. He's, got a chance to kind of turn things around. And he's definitely, we're not waving him or anything yet. So he's got a chance to make it back up. I talked a bit about the pitching. The hitting at AAA, I will note to Yankiel Fernandez, unlimited time, absolutely crushing it. Scott Sharpton, really good start to the season as well. If there's any injuries to our infield, he will get called up for sure. He just doesn't have a spot where he'd get a lot of playing time at the moment, and that's kind of what I want, where he's going to continue to develop a little bit. He's still got a few categories where I'd like him to develop a little bit more. So I want him getting regular playing time. And Yankiel Fernandez, he could be a Gian Zapata replacement potentially if he keeps hitting like this. Definitely profiles as a maybe outfielder, more likely DH kind of player. But he's 28 as well, so he could be a quad A type of player as well. So Connor Griffin also of note. His OPS isn't crazy, but he has good WAR to start the season and is on pace for a 3 WAR season at AAA. He's a guy that can play, again, almost every position on the diamond. A little shaky at shortstop, but I'd play him at center field. And could definitely play third base, first base, second base at a pinch. Can play all over. Was a Rule 5 pick. Spent most of the year in the minors for us last year. He's another guy that he's still on the 40-man and could get called up if there's injuries. And Luke Stevenson, also worth noting, as we keep our eye on the backup catcher spot, he's hitting well and has pretty decent fielding ratings. If there's any other injuries to our catching position, if our backup catchers start to struggle, Dylan Moss still has 1 week left on his injury. I'll probably give him some rehab time at AAA too, although Bodine has struggled so far in the backup role. So probably bring him back sooner rather than later. And then a quick prospect update on the lower levels of the minor leagues as the rookie league is about to start up here. DeJesus has struggled a little bit, but is starting to come on stronger. He got suspended for a random 4-game stretch in there as well. Got to stop brawling on the field, DeJesus. He's looking good still, and a little bit more development and he'll be up to AAA. I'd say Gerald Zimmerman is also knocking on the door of AAA. He's got a 180 OPS plus to start the season, so give him a little bit more time at Double A, and then if that continues, he'll get called up sooner rather than later. I don't think any of our Double A pitchers are particularly close. We did bump up Kevin Davidson to Double A after he had a pretty decent start to the A plus season. I think his FIP was good. His ratings overall, when you look at him in the Southern League, look decent enough. Control is still low, but yeah, I've got heavy focus in that in his development. It needs to be higher. Like that's the bottom line. If he can get up to that 40 potential, and especially like if the stuff and movement continue to improve, like that's playable. But 40 is like the bare minimum, I'd say. Maybe 35 if his stuff is really, really good. So we'll see how he continues to develop. He was a second round pick in 2029 for us. And yeah, I think he lost a lot of control like right off the bat. Let's see, 2029. Yeah, dropped from 45 to 40. So I think he started with 40 and then yeah, thankfully hasn't lost any more potential, but his potential stuff was 85 at one point. So that's gone down, but 75 is still really good. A plus ball. Aguilar got bumped up from A to A plus. Colson started at A plus, but is doing well. Rainville got bumped up from A to A plus. He was a 2028 pick. He was at one point a top 100 prospect, but again, the control is just a bit of a struggle. His stuff is already 60 out of 80 though, with decent movement. Yeah, if he can continue to develop, like, and if that control can get up, and again, I've got heavy focus in control. I want that potential to go up too. His stamina dropped from a 70 to a 50 because I'm putting no focus in it whatsoever. But yeah, he needs control, bottom line, if he's going to be playable at all. So, and then A ball, yeah, not much to note in A ball. I don't think anyone really got bumped up from the minors. I do want to note, yeah, I've got a lot of guys that are young and need some playing time at the minor league level. Tsutsumi, who is one of our top prospects, number 21 overall in baseball, does get the call up to the rookie league to start playing there. He turned 18, so, I usually like to bump guys up as soon as they turn 18. His rating's still a little low to be playing there, but I think the best way for them to improve is for him to get playing time, as his potential's gone down a tad in March, but nothing too crazy. And our scout also randomly found a 4.5-star pitching potential prospect that looks good. He's only 16. He's got high work ethic. He can likely do fairly decently. Only 20 relative potential in ACL, but 2-star overall. Like, yeah, I'm gonna give him some playing time and see what he can do. So. Maybe a guy to watch out for there, as Aiden Roberts, actually the highest rated catcher in our system. Dupuy will get his first playing time this month. He was a second round pick. Chris Story looks interesting. He was a 6th round pick. Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on those guys as well. Kevin Felix, an 8th round pick who could be a starter, could be a reliever, depending on how these pitches develop. Yeah, a lot of interesting names. But for now, we're going to keep going in May. What's the next interesting? All-Star voting starts at the end of May. Again, we'll update for any major injuries. International amateurs, we did already. Miguel Perez only wants $425,000 as I poke in here. Sure. We still had that 310 floating out there. Yeah. Anyway, I will keep simming and I'll cut in for sure when there's any major updates. is May 5th, and Landon Ropp, his season, if not maybe his career at age 32, is done. He's out for 13 months with a torn UCL. Gavin Jones also with a serious injury. Yeah, and we just found out that as well. That popped up at the same time as the Ropp injury. So he's out for 4 months. He's going to miss a big chunk of the season. Just a brutal back to back there. Both of those guys will go on the 60-day IL. Gavin Jones at least has a chance to come back. Torn meniscus in his knee. That's, let's see, June, July, August, September. So he may be back for the playoffs, but brutal as most of his season is gone. Yeah, what that does mean is it's time to call up some guys from the minors, and I think I already know who's going to be taking both of those spots. Strapidopoulos has been great. He deserves a chance to be a starter at the big league level, so he will be added to the 40-man for that. Still got 5 spots open on the 40-man, so I'm not too concerned about that. I think he'll slot in probably to the 5th spot in our rotation, as I can say words here. And then it's between Hill and Bourgeois to get called up for the last bullpen spot, and Bourgeois has been better to start the season, I'd say. So he will get the call up. He was good at the end of last year, too. So let's see. Bautista, Swim. I might even slot in Strapidopoulos as 3rd in the rotation here. Yeah, I think I will. And he's been throwing 80 pitches in the minors. We'll keep him at that to start his big league career. Bourgeois will slot into middle relief and also be used as a specialist against lefties. I should also look to see, as I can stop forcing his role as a starting pitcher. Snelling has been good against lefties. That's worth noting. Imanaga's been good against lefties. And Burke has been pretty good against lefties. So, yeah, we'll put him as a specialist, too. Yeah, that's not an ideal back-to-back set of injuries there. Nick Swanson also hurt, one of our top pitching prospects. I don't think there were any other major injury updates. I know we did get Alejandro Vera is back from a long injury, and he had looked good before he got hurt, but he tore his flexor tendon in his elbow and missed 13 months. So over a full year of baseball, he's back and pitching in Double-A and struggling so far, but he's coming back from a major injury. We'll give him some slack there. Yeah, it's tough to lose basically your ace for most, if not all, of the season. And he was off to a great start again this year too. But injuries happen. We gotta deal with that, and thankfully we have those pitching prospects waiting in the wings. I think Clevenger has struggled a little bit to start the season. Yeah, his ERA is close to 5, but his last start was definitely very promising. 7 1/3, with only 1 hit allowed and 0 earned runs through 114 pitches. Yeah, I mean, he does have good stamina. So he'll continue to develop. He's kind of the last of the 3 big pitching prospects to make it to the majors, which is funny because I think he was probably one of the furthest developed when I got all 3 of them, or had all 3 at the same time. But anyway, yeah, we're going to keep rolling with this. Still on watch as far as Imanaga and Snelling go for their rotation spots. Snelling, again, had another good start, though. Solid start. 7 1/3 with 2 earned runs, bringing his ERA down to 6.3 for the year. Imanaga's been, a mixed bag. Kind of a good start, then a bad start, then a decent start where I think he got hurt in... No, he didn't get hurt. Okay, so that was... Wait, that says Robbie Snelling. Oh, okay. So this game was rained out, I believe. No, it wasn't. I don't know why it's showing that. Okay. It just says lead 3-1. Maybe it was a game that was initially rained out, and he was slotted to start, and then we played it later. I don't know. Minho off to another great start to the season, by the way. Is he leading the league in pitcher war still? No, that is Bobby Casas, a very good looking prospect from Baltimore, who is not a real life prospect, I think. I don't know. Hard to say. 2026. All right. Well, let's keep going after those back-to-back injuries. Still 2 games above 500, half game back in the division. Angels are competing. The other teams in our division are kind of hovering around 500 as well. So we'll see if it's a scrappy battle this year for the AL West. But yeah, I'll talk to you soon as there's another big update. Hopefully not as big as that last one. Yeah, brutal way to start the season there. May 11th, and another injury update. Perdomo out with hamstring tendonitis for 2 weeks. I was initially frustrated. It was mainly a bad break. He had a minimal injury, so I had set him to not be started with a minimal injury, and then he pinch hit for Browning in the ninth and got hurt running the bases. So, I guess the CPU did follow that. I tried the game before that or maybe 2 games before that, to rest Carson Swam on a minimal injury, and then they pitched him anyway, and he threw 96 pitches. So a little, frustrated with that, but ultimately that worked out, I guess. Anyway, Perdomo will go on the injured list for 10 days. I think it's going to be time then, as Gamble's still struggling, Zapata doing okay. Doing quite well, actually. But since we lost an infielder, I think I want to bring an infielder back up, and it's going to be Scott Sharpton, who has crushed it at AAA so far. I'll have to rearrange my lineups to try and get him some playing time at the big league level, but yeah, he deserves to get some playing time. And that's one of our major guys out. He could play second and third, so he'll probably back up both of those positions and then maybe start against lefties. How has he been against lefties in the minors? Let's see. Batting stats. Oh, he's crushed lefties in the minors. Okay, perfect. So, yep, that'll probably be the play. Not going to bother showing that, as we've done well in our last stretch. Both Imanaga and Snelling starting to pull it back a little bit, although Snelling had a rough start his last time out too. So over 5 starts, I think it might be time to make the switch, as Bellows had a good start to the year. Snelling's going to move to the long relief role, and Bellows going to step in as our 5th starter. So Imanaga will stay in as 4th. Strapadopoulos had a rough time out his first go, as he allowed 5 earned runs over 4 innings. Did throw 99 pitches too, despite me having his pitch count set to 80. That's an interesting decision, again, by the CPU. But anyway, Dylan Moss almost back from injury as well. He struggled across 4 games in rehab in the minors, so I'm going to keep him there a little bit longer, but not too much longer, since Bodine's struggling at the big league level. And I don't know. We'll need to see. I mean, there's always the chance I could call up Luke Stevenson instead. It's a thought. But, I mean, both of those guys are going to be backups, because we still have Drake Baldwin, who overall has gone down a bit. I had looked at, maybe extending him in the off season, but this gave me pause back in February, and this definitely gives me pause here, seeing, I don't want to say a massive drop-off, but drop-offs in 4 major categories, down to a 3-star potential. He is 30. I mean, still putting up really good numbers, but um, yeah, I don't know if he's a guy that I want to sign to another like 6 year contract. So I'll need to see. I also want to see if he opts into his player option or not, because that's probably going to be cheaper than whatever I would pay him for a another big league contract, as he wants like 22, $24 million a year. Yeah, I'll have to keep my eye on him, see what happens. I mean, he's still projected to have a good year this year, though, and still our starting catcher, but a little bit more of a question mark than before. So we'll see. Kurtz has started to turn things around too. His OPS is back over 100, which is good. Martinez and Santana still very hot to start the year. Santana on pace for a 7.8 WAR season. Martinez on pace for a 5 WAR season. I mean, it's probably not likely that they'll keep that pace up for the entire season, but I'll definitely take it for now. Volpe doing well. Yeah, I mean, I would say our hitters are just doing well in general. Yeah, we're third in batting WAR, first in on base percentage, fifth in OPS. Kind of a flip flop of how it's been the past few years, where our starter ERA is bad. 4.67, 13th in the league. Bullpen has been decent. FIP and pitching WAR overall have been decent, but not the strength of our team like it has been in the past. So we'll see. We will have to see how Scott Sharpton does at the big league level, and yeah, I'll update if any other major injuries happen. We've had a lot of minimal injuries too that I've kind of tried to rest guys through, because it's early in the year and I'm trying not to lose even more guys for the year, but we'll have to see. I mean, at a certain point I think you'll just have to play guys through it. Yeah, we'll see how that goes, but I will let you know if anything major happens, so stay tuned. All right, May 24th, quick injury update. Positive injury update. We got Perdomo back from injury. Leiter has a moderate injury, so I'm not putting him on the IL for now. Yeah, Sharpton struggled a bit on limited time at the big league level. You can see negative, put up 0 WAR, 44 OPS across 7 games, 6 starts. So yeah, back down to the minors he will go for some more playing time. Let him cook a bit more, But I also wanted to note our hottest hitter, at least by OPS right now, is Cooper Kinney. The Kinney resurgence is real. He's on pace for 2.8 WAR this season. Like, I'm happy about that, because I don't know how many times I mentioned, just giving him one more chance. Maybe he'll come through. I really wanted it to be the case, and so far he has delivered, at least through the first, month and a half, almost 2 months of the season. So, still not the leader of the team in WAR. Santana continues to put up really good numbers. Keyshaw having a good year as well. He's on pace for 5.3 WAR. Yeah, just a very solid effort all around. We are up to 24-17, so we're 7 games above 500, but still a half game behind the Angels for the lead in the AL West. That looks to be a battle this year, as the Angels are pretty good. I haven't looked too deeply at their team to see who or what they're strong in. Looks like their pitching is going to be their strength, as their third in starter ERA, first in bullpen, first in FIP, first in pitching WAR. Yeah, they're led by Yamamoto, although his ERA is a little high. He's definitely still the ace of their team. Marlon De La Cruz having a good year. He's young. They got him in a trade with Cleveland for Jesse Dickinson. Yeah, I mean, I could see that trade, sure. Gilbert Diaz on the Angels. They traded for him from Arizona. He's having a good year. Ricky Tiedemann now on the Angels. Still on the Angels, rather. No, actually, he started on Toronto and then got traded to the Angels. Okay, so they traded for him back in 2027 in exchange for Matthew Lugo and Tony Perez. And Matthew Lugo doesn't appear to be worth it for them so far. So yeah, also having a good year. And then Cruz Schoolcraft looks like a two-way player. His bat has not been super effective. His pitching has been decently effective. So yeah, interesting player there. And then led by Raisel Iglesias. He got signed for cheap as their closer. He's putting up a good season. I know he was kind of on my short list of guys to potentially target. He's age 41 and still putting up good numbers. And let's see, Casey Mize also on their team now, putting up decent numbers as a reliever. Pretty good numbers actually, but very limited sample size. And then Heron and Bender both have good ERA and FIP, so maybe they're due for some regression, possibly, but either way, hard to argue with those results right now. And then lineup led by Dylan Cruz, who's only a 2.5 star potential player, but having a great year so far. Already has more WAR this season than he did all of last season for Washington, and they got him in a trade with Washington in the offseason for Peyton Graham and Antonio Figueroa. Peyton Graham out for Washington. All right, so Morabel, yeah, looks like a beast. Yeah, he's definitely a star shortstop potentially in the making. They have him locked down through 2035. Nibel Mariano looks good. Carlos Carrasco, age 24, claimed on waivers from Boston. Okay, so Boston waived him, but yeah, he's having a good season too. So either way, they're going to be competing with us probably for the division. We are actually in the middle of a series against the Angels. So let's see. As we lose to Raggins, Cole Raggins. Oh, but he got hurt. Okay, so he was probably their ace going into this series, but he's out for 6 months. He's going to miss the rest of the season. That's brutal. And then we go up against Cruz Schoolcraft next and win that one in 10. 7-3 in 10 is an interesting line. They don't have him batting for himself, which is a little curious, but his batting numbers have not been amazing. Bautista went a strong 5 2/3, only allowed 1 earned run. Burke has been okay. Our ERA numbers are starting to go down in some of our relievers, but still the underlying numbers are concerning. So we'll have to see. And yeah, let's see how we do against De La Cruz. We lose. So we actually lose 2 of 3 to the Angels there. That's not going to help our standings any, as we are, still a half game back. 2-3 Bello went strong. De La Cruz didn't allow any earned runs. Yeah, he's your player of the game. Of note, for our pitching staff, we've gone to Bello and Ferris as our 4 and 5 starters. Straps is back down to the minors, and Snelling's still working out of long relief and still really struggling. This was a start, I believe. Yeah, and still went 3 innings in relief and gave up 2 earned runs in an 8-4 loss to Texas. So not great, especially considering we have him locked up for the next 4 years after this, 3 years after this, but not prohibitively expensive if we have to, make some moves there, but not preferable either way. Bello and Ferris. Ferris actually hasn't made a start yet, but Bello has come on and really, in his 3 starts, 2 earned runs, 0 earned runs, 2 earned runs, like 3 quality starts in a row. The Bello Renaissance is potentially here as he finished last year strong, I believe. Kind of escaped my notice because he was struggled really badly to start the year, and then I pitched him in relief, and I don't think I even put him on the playoff roster. And you can argue he probably should have been with 3.27 ERA. I think his FIP was not great, was why I kind of overlooked him. But this year, both the FIP and ERA are, well, FIP is decent, ERA is good. He's going to keep getting time and the starting rotation. So we're almost through May, so I'll probably stop again briefly in June. But as All-Star voting began today, let's see. And Southern League named DeJesus the best batter, as he's doing well in Double A. Yeah, definitely look at some prospect promotions potentially in the start of June. Zimmerman's likely getting bumped up, just given how he's looking so far. But yeah, I will go over that more detail at the start of June. We'll keep going. It is June 1st. We're now 30-19, so have regained the lead in the AL West. Not too much has changed since the last update, but it is the first of the month, so thought I'd just check in here. Ferris had a good first start, went 7 innings, no earned runs, 5 hits allowed. That's all you can ask for, really. Bello continues to do well. I did shuffle around a little bit. It's worth noting Chris Bourgeois, over 18 innings, has not allowed an earned run at the big league level yet. Has a great FIP. He could step into the closer role sooner rather than later. I think he looks to be a really good reliever. Griffin Jack's, struggling a bit, and in fact, did give up an earned run in his last appearance, and 4 hits, although he did get the save still. Why don't we do that now on camera? It's probably going to make Griffin Jacks not happy, but, he has kind of not been up to snuff this season. He'll still be a setup man, but Chris Bourgeois will step in and be our closer. He's just been lights out so far across 18 innings. Again, small sample size, but really good. And Griffin Jacks will be our backup closer, I guess. What else? Our lineups are largely the same. Cooper Kinney has, I was gonna say, cooled off a little bit, but it's less that and more that the other 2 guys above him have started heating up. Nick Kurtz, this is what we traded for him for. Putting up good DH numbers. And then Steven Martinez continues to hit, on pace for an almost 5 WAR season. Hopefully he continues that. Drake Baldwin doing well. Santana still doing well. And in fact, our batting WAR, look at these categories. This is probably our best offensive season of the franchise so far, with the only major categories we're not first in are home runs, and then I guess stolen bases and base running, and runs scored were 4th, but first in WAR, first in WOBA, first in OPS, first in on-base percentage and batting average. So some hot hitting. I like to see it. Prospect updates. Both DeJesus and Zimmerman have been bumped up to AAA. They were both hot to start the year. DeJesus, in fact, was player of the month in AA, after putting up a 160 OPS. They've done enough to get bumped up, I think. So we'll have to see if they get big league playing time this season. We kind of have several guys that could be in that DH-ish type role already, but both of them, if they continue to improve, could see time there. Let's see. Chris Arden got bumped up at some point. He's hurt, and hopefully it's not a serious injury. In terms of double A, I did bump up Justin Grant to double A. He's got 3-star potential. He's done well at A plus ball so far. Had a good start to the season. Good enough to get bumped up, I think. He was an 8th-round pick back in 2028 and just has been steady throughout all the various levels of the minors so far. Nothing amazing, but good enough to keep getting bumped up, keep getting good playing time. Pretty happy with that. Let's see. Mike Fugate moves up from A ball to A plus. He had a good start to the season. Again, a 7th-round pick who's been, was okay to mediocre in rookie ball and then got bumped up to A, I think mainly due to his ratings more than anything, and has done well there. So good for him. Solide has been solid, but not spectacular. Rod Barantes has done well in relief. He could maybe see a promotion at some point. Chris Gunter, again, solid. He was starting for a little bit too, I think. In terms of our starting pitchers, Glenn Colson kind of on the cusp there. He has started the year really well at A plus. I just want him to get a little bit more time at A ball, but he looks like he's probably close to ready for double A. Eddie Rainville also starting the year well in A plus and A ball. Again, a little bit more time, but he's already had a full season at A ball, so could be sooner rather than later for him. It's just, again, the control. I want to see that go up. Yeah, I'm concerned. Though if I want him to keep improving, I think I'm going to just go ahead and bump him up to double A now. Kind of prove it here. He's got to get more control. And Colson close, I think I mentioned that. Aguilar doing well. He started the year at A, bumped up to A plus. He could go up to double A sometime this season as well. And A ball, let's see. Javier Sandoval started the year in rookie ball, had a good start to the season. Chris Beatty is on watch. He's another guy that has some interesting looking stuff in movement, but struggles with control. So far, control hasn't been a big issue. Well, it has been a big issue. 8.6 walks per 9 is pretty bad. But when your stuff is that electric, you can kind of get away with it a little bit. Michael Young starting off the year well at A ball. Not bumping him up to A plus just yet. But he's close. He's only 19. That's good. Nick Hodson. And then Fernandez. All right. And then everyone else at rookie ball. There was a name to watch at rookie ball. Chris Medina, off to an incredibly hot start. Could see a promotion to A just solely due to stats. I mean, the ratings don't back that up necessarily, but stats are very good to start the year. If he keeps that up, he'll get a promotion regardless of what the stats say. Dupuy has been solid. Ken Rodland is an interesting name. He was a 13th round pick last year and doing well to start the year in rookie ball. Antonio Marquez, who was our big scout finding, off to a solid start as well. He's still only 16, so I'll probably just have him pitch the whole year at rookie ball regardless. Kind of take it slow with him. Bracamontes has been solid as well. He was a scouting discovery. He could potentially see a bump up to A-ball sometime this season. But yeah, interesting prospect development here. Our system overall is 16th out of 32. You know, we've got a few top end prospects, but not a lot of depth, I'd say. Um, yeah, so we'll have to see if that gets bumped up at all. We are approaching the draft combine as well. I'll go through that and see. We're kind of in a similar spot to last year. You know, we had a really good season, and there's several comp picks as well. So I think we are picking 36th this year, 34th. Yeah, with some comp picks in there. There's a comp pick for the Rockies, the Mets. I think there were some later ones too, but yeah. So likely not going to get top end talent. But you know, we can still potentially grab some gems towards the end of the first round. So I'll show that once we get to the draft combine, and I'll see you soon. It's June 7th, which means it's the first year player draft combine time. I realized in the last update too, I forgot to show the first round of All Star voting. So yeah, there's a few interesting names in there. Drake Baldwin currently second in votes behind Gabriel Moreno for the Diamondbacks, which, yeah, I get that. That's fair. And Nick Kurtz also he's the top DH vote getter currently, which is nice. And I know PCA also second in votes for center field behind, yeah, Julio Rodriguez, which again makes sense. None of our starting pitchers currently in there. None of our relievers currently in there. I think those are everyone that is getting votes for us currently. So, draft combine, I have gone through and kind of made my list already, just because I don't know how interesting it is to see me pick through every time. I did have the strategy basically of anyone in the top 10 I'm just straight up ignoring. We are picking 34th. The likelihood that any of these guys are going to fall is pretty low. I think the highest I included on there was I even didn't put Travis Torbeck on there, even though he looks quite good, because he's 11th. I mean, anyone kind of borderline. I think Verhulst might be on there. The name that I'm most excited about and hope falls to me is Camden Bagley. Like, he's projected to go 32nd, and he looks like maybe the best player in the draft to me overall, which is kind of crazy because he's coming in with the 2-star potential. He can basically play in Double A right now. Almost a big league ready pitcher. He is 22, but you know, he seems really, really good and has high work ethic too, which is always a plus. Yeah, the mock draft, Hunter Terrell, you know, I don't love him as a first overall pick. I mean, the 95 power is very tempting, right? Like, but the contact is not great. So, you have to wonder, is it going to be worth it? Jaden Doctor looks good. His catching ratings are a little low, but his bat looks very solid. Casey Sarator. An interesting name was Mark Lane. He actually went 3rd overall in the 2028 draft. And didn't sign with the Royals, and so went to college for 3 years and is back in this draft. Unfortunately, he is still projected to go 7th overall, so likely won't get a chance to take him, as it was the first time around when I think we picked 8th in the 2028 draft, which is a shame because he does look intriguing. I mean, he's kind of the same archetype as Hunter Terrell, but more contact, less power. And some of these guys do look interesting, but are likely not going to fall to me. So I'm trying to, with my combine choices. All right, sorry about the awkward cut there. I also don't remember what I was in the middle of saying here. So, yeah, we are targeting guys that have a realistic chance to fall to us. Anyone outside of the top 10, even guys like, Camden Bagley technically is projected to go before us. He could drop. I think someone like Danny Verhulst could even drop potentially. A few of these guys are projected to go in supplemental round 1 or even round 2. But yeah, I just picked the most solid players that I saw, that have a realistic chance of falling to us. So let's start with the pitchers. Bagley we already looked at. He looks great. If he falls to us, I think he will be the pick. Bobby Prentice also looks pretty good. He is projected to go, let me see, 15th. So, again, probably won't fall to us, but he's good enough where I think it's worth taking the chance. Again, has pretty good stats already. He's not quite as pro ready as Camden is, but yeah, he looks like he could start in A probably without too many issues, even though he's 18. Yeah, maybe even A plus. And he's got high work ethic and baseball IQ, so definitely like that. Hector Becerra, kind of the same deal here. He's projected to go Becerra. Probably should have written these down or something. So he's predicted to go outside of the first round, I believe, which is great because he has a realistic chance of falling to us, and he kind of has the same archetype as well. Yeah, was he the one that was like in the 3rd or 4th round, maybe? I don't know. I don't see his name in there, but either way, I think he's, he looks pretty good and has high work ethic and IQ. So we'll see if he falls. Other pitchers, Adam Rath, again, strong, like not quite as high potential, but still looks good and also fairly pro ready. Only 21 years old. He could maybe do double A. Yeah, maybe I'd probably start him in A plus or A still, most likely. But he could probably survive in double A as well. Yeah, he seems a bit underrated. Bielski, high potential, 17 years old, still pretty raw, but 80 potential movement. That's great. He would start in rookie ball, but projects pretty well. And I think he's one that is probably projected to go higher than will fall to us. Or was he one? No, okay. Both Bielski and Gibson I looked at, and 21 is maybe, that's 10 picks away, 15 picks away from us. So, worth taking a shot. Phil Feldman looks good. 18 years old, pretty raw, but high work ethic and IQ. I like that type of player. Chris Martin likely won't fall to us. I really like his defense. His hitting looks good minus the eye, but eye is one of the easier things to potentially train in the dev lab, so if that's his only weakness, I'm fine with that. And he is someone that, let's see, Chris Martin, I think he was still projected to go, decently high at 17. But again, he could fall. We don't know. Cody Lukin just looks really solid all around. Just good batting ratings, not terrible defense, does probably project as a third baseman, still pretty raw, but has high work ethic and IQ. Like, that's probably the type of player that we're going to get. We're not going to probably get one of the pro-ready guys like Martin or Torbeck or, even, Chris Brown or Aiden Dickert. Those guys will probably all be gone by the time it gets to us. So, Sean Scott does look fairly pro-ready, and I think he was one that was projected to drop a bit. Sean Scott, where are you? he might be one that was projected. Oh yeah, so he's projected in supplemental round one, but power's not great. The rest of his hitting looks pretty good. He's also 22 already. You could start him in A. You could start him in A plus. He'd probably be fine. Yeah, just pretty decent overall bat. Ismael Fajardo, again, like fairly advanced shortstop. He's 22. He's projected to go 24th. So, a lot of these guys are just kind of on the borderline. Most of them probably won't fall to us, but all it takes is one of them to fall to us, and then we'll be sitting pretty well, I think. Joe Doherty, where was he at? Pick before us, 33. So he definitely has a chance of falling. And finally, we've got Danny Verhulst, who is another like power archetype guy. He doesn't have like amazing personality, but he's the type of guy that could fall. I think he's like 19th. Nailed it. 19th exactly. Okay. Excuse me. So yeah, we'll go ahead and just I'll do this day by day. I think that's been pretty good so far. 12 players total. I believe about 6 pitchers and 6 batters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, looks like 5 pitchers and 7 batters, but that's fine. And yeah, big league roster is where we want it, so go ahead and play. And we win versus Detroit 7-5. All right. Ferris, by the way, had a good outing. This is his 3rd outing, and this one was a little rougher, but still a win. And scouting wise, let's see. Okay, so interest in Camden Bagley has gone up to very high. I doubt that he's going to drop to our pick anymore. I don't know why he was going so late previously. Yeah, but he's now near the top of the list, very high. Who are some of these guys that maybe could look to fall? Travis Torbeck is only high. Let's see. If we look at, what's the default view? Let me see if there's a league interest. Let's see if that's, yeah, okay, that looks like what we want. So, any of these guys that look interesting? Average on Bielski, he's already on the list. Low for Feldman, low for Gibson. Gibson was one I kind of considered. Average for Chris Martin, okay. Very low for Rob Sharp. Yeah, but I'm not particularly interested in Rob Sharp either. Gabe Pagano. Gabe Pagano is interesting. I mean, where is he projected to go currently? Low. Draft pool. There's Rob Sharp. Where's Pagano? Pagano in supplemental round 1. So I might swap someone out for Pagano. Trying to find these gems, and the more attention these guys are getting, I think the higher likelihood that they're going to be drafted highly. And let's see. Low for Nate Borden. Yeah, that's fine. Low for John Hood. James Jolly. He's got 2 strong pitches. Very low for Josh McAllister. Yeah, he was another name that I looked at where, again, two strong pitches. Not really someone I would want to take with my first overall pick. Let's see. Corey Taylor, very low. Chris Brown, very high. Aiden Dickert, very high. Pete Dowden, very low. Dowden. Was Dowden one that was supposed to go high-ish? Not really. Okay. Lucan's low. Rath's very low. Scott is low. So I like the look of a lot of these guys. Average for Stephen Gilliand. Okay. And then Darty and Fajardo. Yeah. All right. So, let's see. I'm going to keep Bagley in there, even though I think it's increasingly unlikely that he's going to be available at our pick. And no one else on our list is even high league interest. Yeah, let's keep going with this. Why not? Okay, so, well, now a bunch of these guys have jumped up to high. Becerra, Bielski, Fajardo, Martin, Prentice, Verhulst. Verhulst was a guy I was kind of borderline on anyway. Maybe drop him off. And I forgot to make a short list, so go ahead, do that. All right. Yeah. It's going to be tough for all of these guys to make it to 34. Or, I mean, even one of these guys to make it to 34. But all it takes is one. All it takes is one. Yeah. Signability. We are getting good scouting info on a lot of these guys, too. 2 more days. Relationship is up to strong with most of these. Weak still with Adam Rath. Weak still with Cody Lucan. Yeah, I'll have to see how the league interest correlates with where they end up getting drafted. A lot of the very high interest guys are guys that I do expect to go high. Mickey Huddleston is an interesting name. Like, random 2.5-star player getting lots of attention. Okay. Would he potentially be like a steal in the later rounds? Is that how that works? I don't know. Let's keep going. Okay, so now we're up to high on all of these guys. Relationship very strong with several of them. Phil Feldman, I think, is up to a 5-star potential. No, he was at 5-star already, but he's got a chance of falling. And I think we're going to stick with the same set. Bobby Prentice is very high. Yeah, again, I doubt those pitchers are going to fall to us, but we're going to hold out hope that maybe they do. Okay. As let's see our draft short list. Yeah, we end up with 11 guys. Bobby Prentice now at very high accuracy, and yeah, I mean, went down a little bit, but not much. Not much. So, okay. So I think these are going to be the names that we're kind of going to target in the draft. Hopefully, one of these guys drops. Bagley looks increasingly unlikely now that he's had a lot of attention at the draft combine, but he's the one I'm kind of holding out hope for. So we did win our last game against Colorado 2-0. Nice job by Imanaga there. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to keep going in June. Next thing of note is the draft. The draft actually falls before the All-Star game this year, so I'll probably sim up to the draft and then call it there. Yeah, that's a weird kind of how things worked out this year. Usually the All-Star game is before the draft, but yeah, we're 35-23. We are 2.5 games in the lead over the Angels. Yeah, Kendall George with 11.1 zone rating already, which is kind of crazy. And an awful OPS. Like, he is crushing it when it comes to fielding. 11.1 ZR in 55 games. He's crazy. But you know, we got PCA. We're doing okay. I'm sure. I haven't looked at his fielding ratings. Yeah, 4.7. Like, not at that same level, but PCA's also dealt with a few injuries to start the year. Some mild injuries that I've kind of held him out through just to be on the safe side. Yeah, we'll keep going, and again, I'll stop if there's anything worth noting. So yeah, I'll talk to you soon. It's now July 1st. Some interesting things to report. First and foremost is that we are now up to a comfortable lead in the AL West, 8 games over the Angels, who have cooled off quite a bit, while we have stayed fairly hot. I realized, too, that I never showed the month-by-month breakdown, I think, after April or May, so in case you were curious, we were 11-10 in April. I think I pointed that out, but good to note anyway. 19-9 in May, which is great, and then 17-10 in June, which is almost as good. Yeah, off to another good start, and let's see. Record-wise, we currently have the best record in the AL. Currently have the best record in the league. A few teams at 46 wins: the Mets, the Padres, the Tigers. The Mariners have fallen off this year. I think, if I had to guess, largely due to the fact that the Royals have kind of come up and made themselves a contender this year. They're doing quite well. You know, their bats are hot, and their first and starter ERA as well, led by Oscar Briones, Tyler Fay, Ty Briscoe, and Simeon Woods Richardson. They traded for him back in 2025. And then, yeah, Josh Spidell. Oh my God, Josh Spidell looks like a monster. He's 22 years old and a 4.5-star player, putting up 3.4 WAR so far for the season, on pace for 7.1. Yeah, he is a superstar that we never had the chance to draft because we were not a team in 2027. So unfortunate. But yeah, some quick notes about our lineups, we've been sticking with Imanaga and Ferris in the 4 and 5 slots. Those are seem to be working well. Bello's still doing well in the starter role as well. Imanaga won pitcher of the month. His last few starts have been great. Had a start in the middle of June where he gave up 4 earned runs, but besides that, 3.011, like dropped his ERA down a full run over the course of the month. Um, he wants to come back next year. I'm not sure, just given what he's asking for. Like, he's good. I just don't know. I'm nervous to pay him in his age 38 season. Um, and our best pitcher by WAR has been Karsten Swim. Has been consistently good throughout the year. I have him at the 2 slot behind Bautista. He's making a strong case to maybe be our number 1 starter on the year, given that Bautista has struggled a little bit this year. His numbers definitely not as good as they were last year when he posted a sub 3 ERA. We should also note Robbie Snelling came down with a sore back, and they say it's a minimal injury that only requires a week to heal, but I'm going to give him the full 60 days to recuperate just to be on the safe side. The side effect of that is he's not on the roster anymore and doesn't take up a 40-man spot. That's the breaks when you have that sore back and you're posting an almost 7 ERA on the season. Like, those injuries will happen. To call up in his place, I brought up Levi Sterling, who has yet to actually pitch, but he was someone we claimed off of waivers from Pittsburgh and has been putting up really good numbers at AAA and looks to be a decent reliever. So he could maybe even make a spot start. Well, no, he doesn't have much stamina, but if I absolutely had to have him make a spot start, it wouldn't be the worst thing. Bourgeois continues to do well. I think he won some kind of award this month too. Rookie of the month, maybe? Yeah, Rookie of the month. They said 2.84 ERA and 16 strikeouts in 12.2 innings. I think that's counting both his AAA and... No, okay, it's both. He just had a slightly worse June than when he first came up because he came up and didn't give up any runs for the first 19 innings that he pitched. So he's been great in the closer spot. He's already got 1 pitcher WAR. He is our closer, I think, for the foreseeable future. As Griffin Jacks has slid down to the middle relief role. Still very good morale, though. He's a good clubhouse guy. That's why we keep him around, Griffin Jacks. The biggest note in terms of lineups, Santana still doing well. Baldwin still doing well. Santana, I haven't looked too closely at the latest update for the All-Star game. I think it's just that the AL is stacked at shortstop. Robel has 3.1 WAR. Bobby Witt Jr. obviously having a great season, and then Gunnar Henderson doing Gunnar Henderson things. So, he's kind of blocked, but is having a good season, is second in our team in WAR. No, first in our team in WAR, 2.5. That's a very solid season. I don't regret the long-term contract from him. I kind of regret a little bit the Snelling long-term contract, given what he's done so far this season, and the fact that he just has been injured a lot. Keyshaw having a good year overall. The biggest news before I got sidetracked, is that Wade Shelley was struggling a bit. Posting a 78 OPS plus .2 WAR, a little underwhelming, even as a backup outfielder. Meanwhile, Connor Griffin was absolutely raking in the minors. OPS over 1,000. Or over 100. And so I decided to call him up, see what he could do, and he has rewarded me so far with .7 WAR in just 10 games played. yeah, to the point where he is now getting playing time. Against right-handed pitching, he is starting every other game with Keyshaw, who's a weak hitter against righties, and then against lefties, he's crushing as well and getting the start at center field over PCA, who does not hit lefties well. So, yeah, I should also, yeah, he should be our top pinch hitter as well over Perdomo, and Perdomo should maybe even move down a little bit. Moss has been pretty decent in the backup catcher role. Not bad at all for a Rule 5 pick. Our team overall on offense is doing well. First in batting WAR, first in on base percentage, fourth in OPS. Like, I'm happy with all these numbers. The pitching even is starting to improve. Bullpen ERA is down to second, despite some of the individual struggles of some of our guys. Starter ERA at fourth. Defense is good once again. Yeah, I mean, that's the makeup of currently by record the best team in the AL. So that's great. Still, Strapadopoulos got injured and has been out for a few weeks. Not a serious injury, just herniated disc. So he'll come back and start again soon. Clevenger's numbers are starting to improve. Still, before calling him up, would want to see a little bit of improvement. Kind of same with Strapadopoulos after he came up, made 3 starts and didn't particularly impress in those 3 starts. Again, small sample size, but yeah, not too crazy. And in terms of promotions, Shing and Lin might deserve a promotion here, back up to AAA. He started the year at AAA. I kind of just let him bounce where he's wherever the CPU wants to put him. Interesting note: when I signed him, I didn't realize he was a two-way prospect, and the pitching ratings are not awful. Like, it's unlikely that he's going to develop into anything serious as a pitcher, but not impossible, especially with his stuff currently at a 50 out of 80. That might play. We'll see. So I'm kind of torn to just let him get more pitching experience at the AA level versus bringing him up against more tighter, what am I trying to say? Better competition at AAA. He's putting up good numbers at AA, almost has 2 hitting WAR on the season, so ideally we want him to keep developing there. And Shing Sen Ko, I believe, ranking in AA as well. I might just bump him up right now. There's a lot of outfielders kind of competing for playing time at the AAA level right now, between DeJesus technically in an outfield role. Fernandez had started out well. Shelley just got brought down. Zion Rose is still hanging around there. John Zapata, I mean, he's kind of the odd man out right now, and he continues to struggle in AAA, which is unfortunate. Really want him to do well, but we'll see. He might get bumped down to AA. I'm letting him go where the CPU places him. It's kind of luck of the draw at this point. Both Zimmerman and DeJesus, by the way, have continued to hit well even at AAA. They could be looking at September call-ups this year potentially. We will see. And anyone else? I haven't looked to see promotion demotion wise. Jorge Vela doing well at A+. Not quite well enough to get the bump to AA just yet, I think, but well. Joe Soliday, again, solid. I think I made that joke before, but I'm making it again. Yeah, he is right on the borderline, I'd say. I could maybe bump him up to AA, but I might just wait on that. Colson, I know, was on the borderline, and honestly probably deserves it now at this point. Like, he's put up almost 2 full WAR, sub 3 ERA for the season. over 100 pitched at the A level when you take both of these combined. Like, yeah, I think it's time to get for him to get the bump up. Pretty solid for a 12th round pick, making it all the way to Double A so far. Let's see if he can keep it going and make it to the show. Eddie Aguilar also putting up good numbers in A plus. Does he deserve a bump up to Double A? He's close. I want to see these go up a little bit more, and he's only 22, so I can leave him to cook at A plus a little longer. A ball, Nick Hodson, Thornton, Felix. Some of these guys are, only 2-star overall potential. They've gone down a little bit, but still leaving them locked in place because they're doing well. Tony Rosario just had a huge jump in development. Like, yeah, you can see there. We love to see the multiple rows of pluses. And he is 19. He projects well against A ball pitching, so yeah, he's gonna keep rolling here. He was posting a sub-2 ERA against rookie ball, so we're gonna see what he can do against A. And Edgar Ramirez. Let's see, anyone that's like a top prospect type. Fernandez struggling a little bit. Sandoval doing well. Started the year at rookie ball and got bumped up to A, so he's actually doing better in A than he was in rookie ball. That's not, I guess, that unusual for that to happen, but still noteworthy, and he could see A plus by the time the year is done. Probably not Double A, but we will see. Let's see, Tsutsumi posting exactly a 100 OPS plus. His overall or potential has dropped down a little bit to just a 4-star overall potential, but still projects to be very good if he can fully fulfill that potential. And we're gonna let him keep going in the minors here. Tony Marquez, a little bit of a struggle to start the season, but not awful numbers, I'd say. Yeah, he needs to get those ratings up a bit more before I think about promoting him to A-ball. Dupuis, struggling a little bit, but ratings are looking okay. If he can get the stats up to match, he'll get promoted, I think. Gutierrez, Rivera looks good. 45, 40, 35. He's right on the cusp, I'd say. Aiden Roberts doing well. He's also on the cusp. A little bit more development, and he'll be there. It's funny, I think Roberts might have leapfrogged Nate Emberg as our top catcher prospect. He's struggling a little bit so far. His overall, or his potential dropped from 4.5 to 2.5 stars, and he does still have those really good defensive ratings, which he's demonstrating so far at rookie ball. But yeah. Who else? Chris Medina. I know he was a name to watch before. He's still putting up consistently good numbers. Is it time? I mean, the stats don't look good at A-ball is the only problem. Yeah, let's maybe do a scouting report on him and see if the scout likes his makeup. Maybe we bump him up. Ken Rodland looks okay. He's got an over 1,000 OPS for the season. I think that's good enough to get the bump. We're also getting close to the first-year player draft. We're going to get a lot of new players coming in, and the rookie league season is almost done as well. Chris Story, I think that's good enough given the stats to bump him up to A. And then Caraballo, crushing it. Only 53 plate appearances, but 1,000 OPS plus in those 53 plate appearances. So nice job there. Bracamontes doing well. He might continue to cook a little longer. Yeah. Rivera, I think we looked at already. Yeah, he's close. He's close. Okay, so that's the start of July, and we'll go ahead and sort the rest. Zapata does stay at AAA. Who gets the bump down? Fernandez gets the bump down. I guess he has cooled off slightly. Still having a good season overall, but yeah, probably not my first choice of outfielders to get called up out of this bunch that's here. We'll see. Wade Shelley will have play center field. I'm sure that's probably where they're having him play anyway. Yes, okay. The CPU does manage to do that. JD Dix we got off waivers. He's interesting and having a decent season. Yeah, we'll keep sending to the first year player draft and then call it there probably for the episode. Not a whole lot of interesting happenings, just kind of rolling along on the season. We lost our best pitcher immediately. Well, not immediately, but right at the start of May, out for the year. Thought that was going to be rough, but it seems like we've managed to keep rolling along. Yeah, I'll have to start thinking about trade deadline too. Who would potentially be on the block? What am I looking for in terms of improvements to the team? Because right now everything's kind of rolling. Could maybe look to get another starter, as Ferris kind of has been a little up and down. Imanaga's been mostly up recently, but down to start the season. So, yeah, more starting pitching wouldn't necessarily hurt. And are there interesting names out there for pitchers? The top pitcher is Grant Holman. There's Sandy Alcantara still pitching for the Mets. Still doing well. This is his last contract year, and not someone I would mind grabbing on a rental necessarily. And potentially gettable. So, none of these guys I'd give up for him, but could maybe make something work with some lower level prospects. Tsutsumi's untouchable though. I'd say Marquez is also untouchable at the moment. Let's see. Swim. I don't think I've set Clevenger to untouchable. I'm going to do that now. Jesus Swim. Gavin Jones is. Santana is. Ferris is not untouchable. Sad to say. The rest of these guys I would like to leave on there. Sharpton's probably not untouchable either. I would hate to trade him after he was our first round pick. And he's right on the cusp of, making it to the big leagues. He's played a little bit at the big league level, but we'll see. If we can get interesting value for him, if the price is right, maybe. Yeah, and no one else, I don't think. Oh, PCA should be untouchable as well. All right. Let's keep simming. I'll let you know if anything interesting happens. Otherwise, we're going to the draft. All right, July 11th. Yeah, not too much to report. We've gone on a bit of a skid. Lost our last 6 in a row. Almost exactly since I had the last update. Yeah, we are now down to 50 and 35, just 6 games up on the Diamondbacks. Okay, so the D-backs are gonna make a play here as well. After getting hot, they're 7 and 3 in their last 10. Okay, So, um, yeah, I don't think there's too much else to report here. Some minor roster moves. Desan Hill was struggling uh, at the big league level, 5.49 ERA. And so I sent him down and brought up Alejandro Vera, getting his first big league action ever after posting strong numbers in AA and AAA, coming back from that long injury, the torn flexor tendon, and doing well so far. Very small sample size, but he's taken over that long relief role, and he's another lefty too. So good stuff from him so far. I think our big league lineup has stayed the same. Spencer Browning's been a little underwhelming. He's a Rule 5 pick, so I kind of am just keeping him around as a backup infielder for now. Like, I don't know. It's a tough call because I could bring up Sharpton in his place, but I think I'd rather just have Sharpton keep getting everyday playing time at AAA versus being a backup at the big league level. But definitely once we get to September call ups, likely, if I had to make the choice for a playoff roster today, like I would probably put Sharpton on over Browning, given what they've both done so far this season. Um, yeah, but that's still a ways away. We still have the first year player draft to do. We still have the trade deadline to go through. I still don't know, um, you know, are there good targets to even go after at the trade deadline? Oh, as Philly wants to flip Roman Anthony right after trading him. I guess he's been having a pretty mediocre season so far. Wow. That might do it. And he is under his last, under contract for just one more season for them. Aaron Judge for New York. I think the fans might riot, although he's having an awful season as well. He is 39 years old. I mean, he's had a great career, but after that age 32 season in 2024, he had a good 2025, good 2026, and then bit of a decline. So, is he a Hall of Famer? I don't know. He has hit over 500 home runs. I mean, that's a pretty large milestone there. So, you can make the argument. And he's definitely still got power. But his OPS is just, yeah, big struggle this year. We've kind of got he would be a DH for us most likely, and Nick Kurtz has done well in that role, although his OPS has dropped a bit. Um, yeah, he's actually not doing as good as I would have hoped. Now he's been a bit up and down. I think, he struggled in April, was super hot in May, and then has struggled a bit in June and July so far. Why does he have stats for August? It has not. It's not August yet. Okay, I don't get that. But um, anyway, Strapidopoulos pitching really well at the AAA level. Like, he's right there. He probably deserves another chance at a call up soon. I'm just doing another scouting session and seeing. I want to see those numbers a little bit higher. Like, give me 45s at least in everything. Give me a 2.5 star potential, something where I can just be like, okay, he's definitely ready. Because I don't want to keep sending him up and down. And with our rotation doing pretty well, I want to be sure that he's gonna, have a spot in there, not just like bumping someone out who's doing well. If we have another injury, that's one thing, but I like the five guys that we have at the moment. As Imanaga has slipped a little bit, he had a bit of a rough outing his last start, but yeah, still a good season overall. I mean, WAR looks good. The ERA mostly looks good. I was thinking about moving swim up to the first spot. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of my rambling thing here. I don't think there's any more moves or things to talk about here. Cooper Kinney still doing well. Yeah, just solid seasons overall by like a lot of our players on offense. Um, yeah, PCA maybe a little below what I would hope for. Same with no, Volpe's done well. A touch behind his 6.4 WAR in the season before he came to us, but he's also playing a less valuable position at second than short, and his OPS is lower too. Still putting up 6.8 ZR at second base, which is quite good. Still a lot of good defensive opportunities there. We like his defense there. Just not quite as much as the defense from Santana at short, who's an elite defender. Yeah. Anyway, that'll be the end of this week's episode. I keep saying this week's episode. They don't come out once a week. They come out, whenever they're done, basically. Yeah. So the plan for the next episode, we're going to do the first year player draft. We're going to do the trade deadline and the last half of the season. Still, we'll need to figure out, trade deadline wise, what am I looking for? What makes sense? I mean, I would like to maybe solidify the bullpen a little bit more. Some of the FIPS on the back half of our bullpen here are a bit ugly. Cam Leiter is a setup guy, and he's got a 2.94 ERA, but then a FIP over 5. And that's kind of the case for several of our guys. Brock Burke, ERA under 3, FIP at 4.5. The only one who I can really 100% count on at the moment is Chris Bourgeois, who has just been great. Did blow his first save, but, that's going to happen. He's still posting an ERA just over 1 currently. Yeah, lights out. Very, very good. So maybe look to get some bullpen help. Maybe look to get some... I don't even know where on offense we would improve in terms of like guys that we could actually trade for. Maybe DH, since Kurtz has struggled a little bit. But, other than rolling the dice on someone like Judge or Anthony, I don't know of any obvious trades sitting out there. So, yeah. We will keep going here. I will see you next time. Do the like, comment, subscribe thing. Tell your friends. Tell your mom. Tell your dad. Tell your cat about the fictional Oakland A's and how they're doing. Yeah, I'm sure they will be thrilled to know all of the details. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you next time.